When did you start noticing the hair loss?
It does go back a while. I'd say it was about 2013, 2014. And I started to notice small patches, and it was all at the back of my head. That's where I was losing my hair. So it was hard to see. I wasn't seeing it front on in a photo. I wasn't seeing it looking in the mirror every morning. But I was starting to get caught in the back of people's photos, or being in hotels, the good hotels with the mirrors all over the bathroom, and you'd be facing one and you'd be like, oh, what's that at the back of my head? Then I started to get comments from people, maybe not meant so hurtfully, but that, you know, there were sore points, and I started to become very conscious about it.
Oh, did you?
I remember a hairdresser said it to me once, and I never went back again. So said, oh, you might be going a little bit sparse on the top there. And then that was the end of that. But, like, it does affect your confidence, because this is something we discussed to Make the News, I think it was last week, that actually it's a real dent to men's confidence when they do start to lose their hair.
Absolutely, and I had a similar experience with a barber, and he just said bluntly, what's with that penalty spot on the top of your head? And I was like, wow, I just feel so great about myself that you're able to stand there and be so negative about me.
Like, and a barber should know these things, that people are going to be like, I've one at the back of my hair as well. I mean, I'm not going to do anything about it, because I did get a transplant years ago before it became very popular and well known to get it done. Sure. Why did you? Yeah, oh, I did. Yeah, here in Ireland. Why did you decide on Turkey? Because I know I'm joking, all the people on the plane coming back, but what is it about Turkey? Did you research it, and what did you do?
It really came down to price. I priced it here in Ireland. I priced it in Turkey. There's a guy I know, and I saw it on his Instagram. I saw his hairline looked unbelievable. He was really receding terribly, and he just had this great front line. So I reached out to him, asked him what the story was. He gave me a contact in Turkey. I looked into that more, and again, meeting people here in Ireland. And what made me go to Turkey was one of the trichologists I met in Ireland said that it just comes down to the price, the cost of living over there. You're not going to get any less of treatment. The service is going to be perfect. You're going to get great care. It just comes down to the cost of living is so much cheaper. The rent of the buildings, the nurses, the medication, everything is cheaper, and that's what it was.
Can I ask you, though, as well, even when you're making that decision that I want to go for a hair transplant, is it something, because I think it's something that people talk about a lot more now, that, oh yeah, I went off to Turkey, I went and had it done. It was very secretive maybe back in the day, or people didn't discuss losing their hair and using different shampoos and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, was it something that you felt, I want to get this fixed, I don't want to go bald?
Oh, absolutely. And I think kind of the pandemic stopped me in my tracks. I would have done this a couple of years ago, and I wish I did, but just the way that the life fell. And, you know, you mentioned secrecy there. I kept it quite private myself. Even when I went, I only told 3 people. There was one friend in Dublin, one friend in work, and one friend where I'm from in Ennis. I wanted to experience it myself first. I didn't know what it was going to be like. I thought it would be easier in the long run if I just kept it to myself. I didn't want all the texts, all the phone calls, all the worry.
But is it nerve-wracking going on your own to Turkey to go under the knife on this? I mean, like, it's quite a big operation, and on your own.
Like, I was called from my hotel, I think it was about 6 a.m, arrived there at 7, given a Xanax. I had my hair shaved completely. I've never had my hair shaved in my life. And I just remember standing there or sitting there in front of the mirror, kind of feeling so demoralised and humiliated, having my hair fall down in front of me. And then, you know, I was brought from there, changed on the hospital bed, never being in a hospital before, kind of only realising at that moment, getting very panic attacky. I get this IV was put into my arm, and I just felt so alone, so vulnerable. I just felt like there was nobody there to support me. I think at that moment I just really wanted a massive hug. And even afterwards I was shaking. You know, it was about 7 hours later, and like I had to go and have a lunch, and they watch you. And while this Turkish man was giving me all the details of what medication, I just sat there and tears streamed down my face for about half an hour.
Was it a good experience, though? Did you feel that they were quite comforting, although you were in a tough...
No, I wouldn't say it was comforting. It's a good experience
for them.
It was business.
Yeah, business for them.
And it was like that.
To let people know, you're awake for the whole thing. Did they take... Because I remember when I got it done, they take a strip off the back of your head. And so you have a scar along the back of your head. Do they do that now, or do they just take all the little...
No, it was all individual.
Individual
ones. It was what I describe as like a clicky pen, and it was like 1, 2, 3 right across my head. And the extraction was fine. I was going in and out of consciousness and sleep for that, and woke up, and then it was the implantation. I was sitting up for that. and it was so sore. And I just asked at one point, I was like, how long is left? And I was connected to different machines and I was trying to count when they were coming on and off. And I said, how long is left? And he said, 90 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
And I know it was the longest 90 minutes of my life. I started to count like 1 to 60 and be like, hey, well, that's 89 minutes. That's 88 minutes. And trying to pass any bit of time that I could. And even, obviously, they were all speaking Turkish to each other. It's like, even if they were speaking English and I could be
at a bit
going
more
in, if they were having a
comfort,
gossip, I could listen in to like, you know, what was going on in their lives.
So it's obviously quite painful getting it done. How's it now?
All great now. I think it's really thick. So
It certainly is.
So
My God.
I have a small bit more to go at the back because it was a miscalculation, which was one of the downsides. They had said that I needed 3,400 grafts, and when I arrived, I needed 6. So that was nearly twice as much, but they'd only do 4,200 on the day.
That was another half an hour on the seat.
But what I thought about, it was obviously negative, I have to go back and pay more. And this time I'm going to hopefully get it done in Ireland.
How much was it, Mikey?
It was 3,100.
And then you pay for your flights and your accommodation?
That included my accommodation. So, and I stayed an extra night. So I think that added the extra 100, and there was a few euro for the bank transfer.
That is a fraction of what you would get it for in Ireland.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, you're looking into tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it isn't life changing. Like, this isn't going to be my hair for the rest of my life. You know, I'm going to have to look into doing this again, you know, in 10, 15 years' time.
Oh, right. So it's not a permanent fix.
No. But look, what could be happening in 10 years, 15 years' time? So then again, that was one of the delays.
You might want a different hairstyle back then, or you might want to go.
Yeah.
But so would you recommend it then to people to sort of, like, that it is good, it is worth it, and for the money, you do get something.
You can't pay for the confidence that you get and the lift. Anytime somebody says it to me, you know, I was back in Ennis the weekend with my friends and family, and just when they said your hair looks so thick, like the smile just went across my face.
Yeah,
see,
fair play,
the confidence is there.
My daughter says I'm like McDonald's, mine, so maybe go and get on it, maybe have to go and see her man.
Thank you, Mikey. And